something strange is going on. You may have noticed Denmark just shut down. I think it hasn't shut down in this way since the war. So basically everything seems to be in a state of, if not emergency, then at least very extraordinary circumstances seem to be unfolding on the planet. And I think I'll be doing a series of channelings on the coronavirus and bring in some different helpful entities' perspectives on what's going on, and we'll see if that has any help. Next up is the Lyrans, but first I think I'll bring in the creators, and they'll give us this 12D perspective on the whole thing. The creators is a type of quantum energy. Actually, you can think of it as the Holy Ghost or Kundalini, or it's the energy that animates everything. And when I channel it this way, it's sort of its conscious perspective that allows itself to be translated into language. So we'll hear what they have to say about the coronavirus and what's going on the planet at this point in time. First and foremost, we need to remind all of you that our love extends itself through all fibers and particles of your being. You are blessed, beloved, and more dear to the highest, most bright factors of this all creation than is possible for you to imagine in the frame you have taken upon yourself to explore in this lifetime of yours. We know that those of you who interact with this translation are already, the most of you, aware of the perspective of incarnation. You have assigned many stories to this truth because it is a truth, it is a factual statement that you are an eternal consciousness experiencing itself temporally, having an experience of what it is to be a limited, individuated being in certain circumstances in which the individual finds itself challenged, juxtaposed, defined, and thereby through definition, integration, and acceptance is able to change, morph, and grow into higher and higher flowerings of consciousness expressing itself through the density of matter. This truth is eternal, and whatever occurs in the environment of matter, your situation of dense density, so to speak. What we mean by this is the medium of matter is exactly challenging as a spiritual experience, because there's a great sense of experiential delay viewed from the perspective of the individual human being. This delay you often experience as boredom, frustration, uncertainty, anxiety, fear of the future. In a backwards perspective, you experience the delay as feelings of shame, guilt, regret, remorse. But realize that this is exactly the challenge. And these feelings, they are impossible to transmute if they are not connected to experiences in the realm of perceived outer reality, that is in the realm of intersubjective experience, that is in the realm of the society, the community, the belonging together of individuals. In this world, the idea and phenomenon of disease is an ever-present threat and challenge to the individuals who interact together. That is to say, if we may use the Hindu myth of the churning of the cosmic sea by the Devas and Asuras. This is the dynamic of human interaction, exactly because you are individuated, opposing forces unfold themselves, and a byproduct of these opposing forces is a type of poison, a type of independent and independently acting entity. Which can be perceived as toxins, poisons, or disease. In this case, you have asked us to comment on the nature of the coronavirus. This phenomenon is playing itself out globally. This means that it also points to the extreme and sudden interconnectedness of your species. We would offer you then as a counterpoint to the obvious horror of you having to die and the most of you humans being so attached to the form, the guise, the shape, the costume you have put on in this incarnation, and the other shapes you have attached to, such as your family or friends or possessions, that you very much fear death, and you very much fear that your world should be subject to acute and dramatic, perhaps even traumatic change that is beyond your control. While at the same time, we know that in your hearts, many of you recognize the very natural process of disease coming to claim those whose physical immune system is unable to resist it, and who, on a soul level, is simply using the disease to check out of this planet. We know this may be a cynical point to you, but many of you recognize that it would do no harm to the ever-growing world population that a few percent were to die. And so this vicious abstraction is in conflict with your sentimental notion of loss, and you find it hard to reconcile the two. This is one of many undertones of the psychological panic sweeping the planet, because notice it is mostly and merely a psychological panic. Also realize that this is triggering for many of you a great deal of societal guilt. There is no place on the planet that does not hold the memory of great plagues having swept their land. Some of them are more external, such as the swarm of locusts ravaging the lands of East Africa and other places around the equator these days. But others famous plagues you know of, the Black Death that swept Eurasia, the pox that killed off the natives of America, all these plagues left traumatic scars on the survivors in these landscapes. And this is what is being brought up in order to be transmuted. This plague will cease much as the rainstorm you may hear is beating on the windows of this environment we are coming through in. You are attempting to learn the lesson of divine trust, and you are learning the lesson of human capability, ingenuity, and society. What is now appearing as a radical type of control Oh, sorry, we are. It's not because the channel is frightened of lightning, but it's he's rarely experienced a lightning strike so close to his house. So Again, something very odd seems to be going on, but so we got interrupted, and the energy got mixed up a little bit, but we'll clear up the frequency. Yes. So as you perceive also in this outer environment, we will simply remind you and teach you that chaos is a part of order, as well as order is able to sustain chaos. The more you rest in these paradoxes, and the more you surrender to the love you experience in your life, then use this opportunity of society shutting down to turn your attention to your loved ones and treasure what you have and who is there and what is meaningful for you. Because everything is truly volatile. And you will die one day, and that death will also be a beautiful experience seen from the perspective of the soul. We leave you with this, sweet human beings. We are coursing through your veins. We are pulsing in your skin. We are the love that creates worlds along with you, sweet waking consciousness. Be well and fear not in these trying and troubling times.